Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
There's only one Mile High taste. Coors, the original.
Hey everybody, Steven
man.
Mad G here. Steve, what's up?
Dude, like, so, we have the different social media accounts on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, and I feel like there's a sign of growth on social media. You haven't made it until you found a troll, until you get troll comments,
Hell
troll
yeah.
followers. And so this guy, I can't even remember his name. It's irrelevant. Let's just call him Mr. Irrelevant. And
Mr.
I don't even
Irrelevant.
know if he followed us on TikTok, but he just decided to do a drive-by, drop a message, and it was something along the lines of the 90s fucking sucked.
No, dude, what? First of
I
all,
just laughed.
inaccurate, but I do like that. That's nice.
It's fucking hilarious. Like, of course I disliked that comment and deleted it shortly thereafter, but I just
No,
found
you
it
should have
funny.
deleted it. I don't even support that, but I do like the mentality of a guy who hates the 90s apparently, but he's in there just looking for shit just to throw bombs at. So shout out to Mr. Irrelevant. Fuck you.
Hope you get some pussy one day, dude. Like, that's really what all of this is about. Like, who just does that? Like, we don't know that guy. I'm sure we don't. He just wanted to see, he saw a random video, some guy talking about the 90s fucking suck. Like, dude, how you really feel?
I don't go on pages of fucking shit I hate and go, you know what? Time to just throw a little shade on this fucking parade. I hate crepes. This is a random thing. I hate crepes. I'm not going on the crepe pages on Facebook. I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. Eat some pancakes, you bitches.
Yeah, it's a French toast world, you fucking pussy.
Well, dude, I mean, that is a sign of growth, Steve. When you're successful,
growth.
haters come. So we're not that successful. So one hater, it's all going to trickle down. It's going to multiply,
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, they got me a laugh, man. I don't think that was his intent, but yeah, salute to that fucker.
Senator Jay Bulworth thought he was ending it all.
I'm not dead by Monday morning. I'm going to stop payment on that check.
Instead, it was the beginning of a whole new life.
People got the problems, the has and the have-nots, but the ones that make me listen pay for 30-second spots.
That speech was bad.
Bulworth is the most intelligent comedy of the decade. Savagely funny.
Senator took your car. Who took my car?
And furiously original.
I'm incredibly frightened.
Bulworth, rated R. New York and Los Angeles tomorrow, May 22nd, everywhere.
So, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, the show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your X-Pac posters and your ectoplasm, because the lights are blinking. I'm thinking it's all over because they go, I'm drinking. Oh, making my mind slow. That's why I don't fuck with the big foe. Oh, bro, I got to maintain, because like me is going insane. And pain on the membrane.
That was fire, Steve. Be Real would be proud of you right now. Shout out to
Love
a
it,
legend.
man.
I love that. And I love, can we just say how, I'd like special shout out to marijuana, because I feel like without that, none of this would be possible, Steve. And I think Cypress Hill would agree to that.
I agree, man. Those icons, the Be Real, the Sin Dog. Yes. Thank you. Well, today, my friend, we are talking about all things July 20th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, The Freshman premieres. An NYC film student accepts a job with a local mobster who resembles a famous cinema godfather and who takes the young man under his wing after demanding total loyalty. Directed by Andrew Bergman, starring Marlon Brando, Matthew Broderick, Bruno Kirby, Penelope Ann Miller, and Frank Whaley, and a Komodo dragon.
Oh, shit. Damn, they got Marlon Brando off the island and in this movie, Steve?
It was the best I could do at the time.
I need a bagel and some cream cheese. Matthew Broderick, dude. What a blah. That's what I gotta say about Matthew Broderick. I love Ferris Bueller Day Off, or at least I did. I can't watch it anymore. But blah blah blah, Steve. Hard take on a Matthew on Matthew violence, but I could give
It's
a
gotta
shit.
stop.
I could give a shit, Steve. I'm putting my foot down for all us Matthews out there.
Man, word to Matthew McConaughey. But like, dude, I get a feeling outside of the McConaughey, hey, you don't like any other Matthew. You don't like Matthew Modine. You said he was blah.
Blah.
Like
Broderick, blah. Matt, like run down the list. People send in a
Groening.
list of famous, huh?
Groening.
Well, I mean, yes, Matt Groening, you're in the tops. You're allowed in. McConaughey, of course, Steve, of course. But Modine and Broderick, these are people that aren't even like they're not in the party. They don't get an RSVP. They're out.
Matthew Lillard.
I'll throw a Lillard in there. I love Scooby. I love Scream. I like a Matt Lillard. Fuck it.
Zoinks.
See? But this, I don't know. This could be hit or miss. In a Brando in the 90s, you don't know where you were going to get, you know? It looks like it's tailor-made for him, obviously, but I don't know.
It was decent. It had some twists. It had some turns. Word to M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong. And this was the first film to use NWA Straight Outta Compton, believe it or not.
That's
Clean
crazy.
version.
That Matthew Broderick's movie is what got NWA in a movie. That's disgusting to me, but okay. Maybe now I'm bringing him back into the cool club if he was part of that. I don't think he was.
And he got to hang out with Marlon Brando. We both need to work on that.
I mean, what does he actually sound like? Because we only know what he sounds like in The Godfather. And the only other Marlon Brando movie I can think of that I saw was this movie called The Island of Dr. Moreau, which is insane and it's not good. And I think there's a shitty Matthew in that too, but that's neither here nor there, Steve.
Matthew Perry.
Ooh.
No.
I'm good on that.
No. Hard
That's
pass.
Chandler Bajing or whatever. Chandler Bing, right?
I
Matthew
think that
Perry.
is Chandler.
Yeah, that's Chandler.
Yeah.
Who's Matthew Perry? Is that Chandler and Friends? Yeah. I'm good. He's trash.
Yep. You know who didn't watch this Godfather Broderick Marlon bullshit? Besides Matt G. Ooh, Navy SEALs. A battle-hardened SEALs team sets off a mission to destroy a shipment of U.S.-built Stinger missiles that have fallen into terrorist hands. Directed by Louis Teague, starring Charlie Sheen, Michael Biehn, Joanne Whaley, Kilmer, Rick Rossovich, Cyril O'Reilly, Bill Paxton, and Dennis Haysbert.
And I've seen this, but this gets confused to me with so many 90s movies, but Navy SEALs, I mean, it gets shout out in movies. It's got Billy Paxton's in it. And that's a recipe for success in and of itself. But did you watch this one, Steve?
I did, man, and it's worth watching once, man. You get some early 90s Charlie Sheen, you get some click, click, boom. And Charlie Sheen, he's being Charlie Sheen in an early 90s movie. At some point early in the movie, he just hops out of a Jeep and over a bridge into a lake. Randomly, because
winning.
He's letting the people know I'm the wild card of the cast. Per you,
winning.
Charlie Sheen movie. Yeah,
he took a key bump and he had to jump out of the Jeep. Steve, it is what it is.
Good start. It's a good start.
The one guy kind of looks like a yoked Phil Hartman behind you, which is weird. But I'm sure this is just a gem of early '90s action flick like this with all these like machismoed out dudes and a Bill Paxton and what looks like a do-rag. I'm into it.
Yeah, this is not bad, man. And also Dennis Haysbert, he pairs up with Charlie Sheen for the second time. That's Joe Boo from fucking Major League, man.
Damn, dude, these guys are just killing it. I don't know. I feel like this is like on the level of like that movie Commando, like one of those B-rate like Stallone Schwarzenegger movies where But I do like a nice team up too, so I'm definitely gonna have to check this one out.
In 1991, Double Cross premieres on HBO. This film tries to capture the life of Barry Seal, a one-time airline pilot who winds up being one of Pablo Escobar's biggest aides in delivering cocaine into the United States. Directed by Roger Young, starring Dennis Hopper, Robert Carradine, Richard Jenkins, Adrian Barbeau, Don Hood, G.W. Bailey, and Danny Trejo, a young Danny Trejo.
Damn, yeah, I was about to say, looking like he was in Dust Till Dawn, unrecognizable. I know this story a little bit just because it's kind of like it's now no longer a conspiracy theory, but yeah, pretty fucking interesting. I think they made a movie where Tom Cruise also played this guy pretty recently, but anything about coke smuggling, I'm in. I like it. And you said this was an HBO flick. This was like a made-for-TV type joint.
It was made for TV, and this is in the early stages when HBO was starting to experiment with their own content, man. And shout out to Dennis Hopper, bro. Like, I know there's 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but you could probably do this with Dennis Hopper, like just 90s. He had some hits in the 80s, man. And was it Blue Velvet? You could keep that off the table. That was in the 80s, but like this stuff, in the 90s.
I mean, Dennis Hopper, that was his heyday, Steve. He was even in like doing like bit parts where he was huge. I mean, he was sort of like became a thing in the 70s though, He was part of that because he was in like Easy Rider and shit like that. So I always loved me some Hopper. Him and Speed, Pop Quiz Hot Shot.
Yo, man. And like of the people, the celebrities who've passed, he's one of the guys I would like to like smoke a J with, man. Just like, hey, bro, like, so Jack Nicholson and Easy, like, what was that like? I'm sure he had a gang of stories, man.
Yeah, especially from back and then. And speaking of Bill Paxton, rest in peace too. I would have loved to smoke a joint with that guy because that guy seemed like he had a real funny sense of humor, and he was around all these stars in the 90s. Like I think he was in True Lies for a second. He always had those parts, and then he started really coming on like mid to late 90s because he was like the main thing in Twister. He was the main character in that shit. So, yeah, man. But I agree, dude. Dennis Hopper, a joint, maybe a little tab LSD and just hanging out. I bet you hear some shit.
Yeah, dude. I just feel like he was always one of the coolest dudes from that era that grew up, got older, and still like maintained his persona, still like kept himself relevant. You know what I mean? In the 80s into the 90s. Like you said, just playing bit roles, man.
But then they'd have him come in and just nail like something like Speed, where I was like, that could have gone a bunch of ways, and they needed a guy like him to really like anchor that because it's like a young Keanu, somebody you don't like, Sandra Bullock, and they brought him in because the dude can play. I mean, he was fucking Bowser in a shitty Mario Brothers movie too. Like he was a good villain,
Like in shitty projects, he can like bring out the most out of the lemon peels given to him. And we covered another Dennis Hopper movie earlier this year, man. I think it was Far Out, man. Yeah. And I watched that, and the concept is convoluted, but Dennis Hopper, he made that shit like work, man. And like, if it wasn't for Dennis Hopper, that shit could have just imploded.
Can I be like somebody who's like consistently, I think they're at the same level and same time period. They're always like, to me, would have parallel careers, is Dennis Hopper, Harvey Keitel, like that kind of guy, where it's like, even if it's a small thing, that guy's going to come in and eat it up. Like a True Romance. He's in it 8 total minutes of screen time, just completely killing it, so Dennis Hop, dude, fucking killing it. Rest in peace? That's not a rest in peace, is it? Damn it.
Yeah, he passed away, I want to say 2010 or 2011, man. So definitely RIP. But 1993, Cypress Hill releases Black Sunday. And God damn it, this is the one.
Insane in the brain. I mean, we all loved it. I didn't even know what weed was. I didn't know any of this shit, but I just love Cypress Hill, Steve. And famously, in our lives together, somebody tried to steal one of my Cypress Hill CDs while we lived together. So it's always been there. It's a through line.
that'll always be an inside joke between me, you, and Jordan, and I guess Blue, if he's out there alive. And like, man, this is one of the first singles I bought back when you could sell singles on a cassette. And Insane in the Brain, I bought that, and I Get Around by Tupac. And dude, I think that was my 10th birthday. Yeah, 93, summer 93 or September 93.
Damn, dude.
And
you were
what I
listening
appreciate,
to
man,
Cypress Hill at 90. I don't think I even caught on to him that early, Steve. I mean, obviously I knew this, but I think it came, I was close to a teenager when I started getting into it. Steve was just an early adopter. 10 years
oh,
old,
bro,
just playing with his wrestling guys and listening to Cypress Hill. That's badass.
and like what I love about the duos, man, like the contrast in the voices. Like Sin Dog is the grovelly guy, Be Real, he's ow, ah, ah, ah. And it's the same thing with UGK with Bun B, he's like that. And Pimp C, he's, I guess you could throw Outcast in there too, man. The big boy, like he's the guy that does the gangster, the pimp shit, and Andre's the wild card. You never know if you're gonna get a melody or if you're gonna get a 16.
Yeah. It is crazy though. Like, Be Real, man. He really had to manipulate. He did a weird manipulation to his voice that you didn't really like. That was completely different from shit you heard too. It was like very singular, you know?
It stands out.
It was cool.
And that's what it's about. Like being a hip hop artist, especially in that time, man, everybody was finding their own like voice, their own like image, personality. And Cypress Hill, they stand head and shoulders above the rest, man. Also in 93, Candlebox released their self-titled album. And it's got some tracks that I actually added to the playlist. It's the one with the you've heard it on Kiss FM back in the day. Now, baby, yeah, yeah, yeah. When I hear that hurt you so loud. Now, baby, yeah, 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 yeah. And like, so Candlebox, they're part of that. I don't even know if you could say grunge era. They're a part of that, but I don't know if they're grunge. You know what I mean?
Grunge adjacent. Like
they
heard it, but they weren't quite there. Yeah. Now, lady, oh so bad. I treat you so bad. Yeah, dude. Yeah. This was the tier of guys where it's like they could have all been the same band. You know, there was a lot of this, whatever that was.
Collective Soul, Candlebox, who else? Who's the Frog Splash guy? Was it
Silverchair?
Silverchair, like, yeah, it's kind of like
Fuel?
Soulful, but Fuel. And all of those are like, okay, put those songs on a CD. I probably would have bought it because, like, just for those songs.
Yeah, but then when you would buy, there was somebody else that wasn't Fuel, and I can't remember who they were. Ah, fuck. It was whatever. But like when you'd buy it for the single and then you get it and there's 13 songs, it was like, oh wait, that was just it. All these other fucking songs are trash, you know? Like I mistakenly picked Rembrandt's, that Friends theme song band. Like it was just like a Columbia House pick where it was like, I need one extra CD. Fuck it. This is like a cheap one. And I remember thinking to myself, even as a child, like if I had bought this and really cared, I would be furious because there is nothing else on this.
Even that song you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why I did that as a kid, but that was just a pussy pick. I was in my feelings or something at that point. I didn't even watch the show, Steve. I don't even get it.
I'm going to make sure I accidentally sit on that CD when I get it. But also in 1993, Tag Team releases Whoop. There it is, louder. Whoop. Shaka, laka, shaka, laka, shaka, laka, shaka, hoop. Shaka, laka, shaka, laka, shaka. Point Break to the juice I drink and then there's a work on my every day. Oh, I can't remember.
I mean, these guys got paid nothing for this, but this is a very prolific, like, this is like a Jock Jam song, you know? Remember Jock Jam, Steve?
This shit got you hype, bro. Upside down and inside out. I'm about to show all you folks what it's all about. DC's in the house. Damn it, I wish I knew those lyrics.
Whoop.
These 3 words might get you. Yeah. But they resurfaced. I remember them being in a commercial. I don't know what it was for. It might have been a Super Bowl commercial. And it's like, yeah, Tag Team, get them coins.
Yeah, especially now. If you can get paid off that still, salute. I hope they made some money, but just knowing the music industry, probably not. Probably not, but whoop, there it is was the thing, Steve. You went to the
It,
roller rink, you went to the bowling alley, you went to a birthday party. Shit. You go to a fucking Mud Hens game back in the day, you're gonna hear some whoop, there it is.
it became a common phrase. People were starting to use that in sitcoms and just in like common life. Just like it was on t-shirts. It was an early 90s phrase that was just like, ah, whoop, there it is. It's 1993. Ah, I'm hit. I'm hopping.
Everybody. Everybody. Furniture
Like my
commercials.
grandma
Whoop,
was.
there it is. Cum shots. Whoop, there it
Shut the
is.
fuck up.
It's all there. It was everywhere, Steve.
Come here. Also in 1994, Dinosaurs releases Changing Nature. The final episode deals with nature being thrown out of balance due to the extinction of a bug species called the Bunch Beetles, caused by the corrupt company WeSaySo, whom the main character of the series, Earl Sinclair, works for. To fix the problem, WeSaySo has formed a task force with Earl as a chairman in charge.
This is, Steve, I said this before, but this is a very dark episode for a very sort of comedically driven TV show. And I gotta say, man, it's a bum out to watch. It really is.
Yeah,
Did,
man.
did Al
Like
Gore
it's been
write this show? Like, is he the responsible? Because this is like a very environmentally, conscious episode, but god damn, does it leave you just feeling scared and
it
sad?
actually won an environmental media award for this episode.
I mean, I love the show, but to end it on this, like for this to be the final fucking episode, is like clearly the guy, the creator, whoever like the team was, they were like, we got to send them, we got to leave everybody with a message, and it's going to be pretty obvious what we're talking about here. We're going to really hammer it home because it's wild. Because these people are about to die. Steve.
It makes you wonder if this was a part of Jim Henson's like dream. Was this like his vision to end it like this? Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough.
I mean, I guess if you think about it, if you're writing a show that's about dinosaurs, the inevitable ending of that show is that they go extinct. So maybe if they were looking at it from that perspective, they always knew that. But to me, it's just wild. Like this commercially successful thing where like the baby was this huge thing to end it where like basically the tone of the show is, oh, we're all going to die. See ya. It's very somber. So it was strange to me. But, we start off, we get the fun music, the fun intro. But, Pangea is just waiting. It's like basically their 4th of July. It's the return of the Bunch Beetles. They got to get these shitty vines out of here and eat them. And, Earl, basically, the dad, represents the chuds of the world, the small-minded people, and he really could give a fuck about that. He's just trying to get this Pyromaster 5000 up and running so he can grill these fucking steaks, Steve.
Like, do you think the steaks were people? I hope they were people.
That's a big ass person though. If they're a dinosaur, because that steak, that's like the shit they put on Fred Flintstone's side of his car, Steve. So maybe I don't know, but he's fucking the steaks up like a chud. And they're trying to get ready for this. They're waiting like there's a whole countdown because this is an annual thing. Like basically to the minute, this swarm of I guess beetles shows up, starts eating these things, and everybody celebrates. But the countdown comes and there are 0 beetles. So there's cause for concern here, Steve. But still, Earl, give me a steak, give me some potato salad. Fuck all this other bullshit.
But you do see something crawling behind Earl, and fuck Mary Kill, it's one of those goddamn Bunch Beetles.
Fuck Mary Kill. So we don't really know what could happen here, Steve. The Beatles have not come. We see some vines. We see a little concern on the news, but they try to play it off like a good news team. DNN, I believe, is their name. But then we cut to like, then we cut to day 4, and there's still no Bunch Beetles, Steve. Poppy vines everywhere, and still there's really no like Earl's not concerned, and everybody else is just kind of worried. But then we do finally see what this Bunch Beetle is, and we meet him.
He can talk.
He talks. His name is Stu or Stan the Bunch Beetle. And I gotta say one thing: weird sexual vibe with Stan and Charlene, the daughter. Steve, Stan wants to get in them things, and he's a Bunch Beetle, so I don't know what that is, Steve. That's kind of fucked up.
Want to see them dino titties. And she keeps it real with him like, I'm a reptile. You're an insect. This could never happen.
Stop groping my titties, Stu or Stan, whatever your fucking name is. But this is the thing. This is what they've been waiting for. This perverted beetle comes, and he really tells them, like, I'm not here to like fuck with your problem. I need to get to this swamp so I can knock some boots and create the thing, these babies to eat all these plants. But something's wrong. He can't find this swamp. So Charlene offers to take him there. And as she does so, they finally get there and they kind of go through like this vine wall. And as they get to where the swamp should be, where the swamp was, is this gigantic like factory industrial building for the Wax Fruit Company, Steve, which is a subsidiary of WeSaySo Incorporated, which is who Earl works for. And this is fucked up. There's no babies. There's no boot knocking for Stan. There's nothing.
Yeah,
no Beetle
looking
pussy.
Forward to that Bunch Beetle orgy.
And he's going to try to get Charlene in that mix too, you know, fucking in the swamp. But she's not down. And now it's like, well, I think we figured it out, because as they're looking around, some guy comes out of the building and he tries to fucking kill Stan with some like with Rick Martel's little perfume sprayer, because you know this is a new building. I can't be having all these fucking shitty bugs everywhere. And Charlene's like, "We need these, dummy."
The popple plague. That's what's about to happen, man. They got to eat these popples. And now Charlene, she finds herself on the news. And she knows about the missing Bunch Beetles, and she's about to spill the beans. And Earl and the family, they see her, and he's like, whoa, she's talking about my company. This is how I keep the roof over y'all's heads. So Earl, he's got to run interference. It's like, oh man, this is my daughter. She don't know what the hell she's talking about, man. She still get acne and shit. Look, I work for WeSaySo, and like we want to make sure all the people are safe. We care about the world. Yeah, he's just trying to, you know, throw some politician bullshit into the game.
And as he's doing that, his boss, BP, fucking Sherman Helmsley, he's fucking seeing this shit on TV, talking to the real high ups, like, yeah, I see this guy. This is bad press, whatever. But then as Earl gets on, he's like, I think I got an idea. So cut, I forget how much time passes, but we go in the future. And now it's crazy. Earl Sinclair, family man, WeSaySo Corporation peon, is now the head dude of this task force to figure out what the fuck to do about this issue, Steve. And I don't like that. I feel like we're seeing, like, now I'm getting paranoid that this is like future telling us where we're at now from the 90s. This is all very accurate. It's kind of scary. The dumb people are making decisions and fucking our ecosystem up. And what happens, Steve? What does Earl do here?
Well, all of this leads to an aerial assault, and all the plant life is destroyed. It's like Ugly Jason is in charge. And even the baby, he senses something is going awry. Somebody's in trouble. And fuck, marry, kill. The world is under danger.
Doom
is knocking on heaven's door.
Environmental catastrophe is what I wrote in capital letters. They spray Agent Orange or whatever the fuck pesticide they got over everything, thinking, oh, it's just going to kill the vines. But what ends up happening, Steve, they wake up the next day. In one night, the whole world, they've killed every living thing on the planet except for, I guess, the dinosaurs who were in their house under all that gobbledygook, whatever that yellow gook is. So now Earl wakes up. He's like, you guys are overreacting. Dude, there's no way that all that, like, one night did what you said. He opens up the door and it's like, oh, shit. No
Look
plans.
what you did.
Son of a bitch.
And then, so he reports back.
Look what you did.
And he reports back to his boss, and he runs an audible. It's like, look, what makes plants grow? Water. All right, so how can we make it rain? All right, we could set up some clouds and put volcanoes and with bombs in them. And he's like, sir, it sounds like we're declaring war on nature. Exactly.
Because these ducats ain't fucking, there ain't no war on money. Because that's what his thing, his boss, BP, or everybody, he's like, look, dude, all this fucking bullshit, I'm making ducats. So whatever we got to do, like, let's appease the masses. What are we gonna do? Kill the world? You fucking
Yeah.
stupid. Let me just drop a couple of bombs in these volcanoes. You guys take a nap. We'll do that. And then everything will be chill. There'll be big black clouds, and those clouds have rain in them. So we're good, right? Let me count these monies again.
Don't you want to ball out, Earl? I know you got a family, a wife, 3 kids.
Shit. We just got a monster out of your basement, too. I know you got all that fucking remodeling work you had to do, so shut up. Be the mouthpiece. And that's what Earl is. He's the mouthpiece for big corporate America, or corporate Pangea, you know? He's destroying, telling everybody it's cool, we're good. So they drop those bombs, Steve. And now what happens? God damn it. Those clouds aren't filled with rain. They're filled with sulfur and shitty shit. And now it's going to take 10,000 years for anything to happen. And now the world's temperatures plummeting. So everybody's wearing parkas. It's a frozen tundra outside, Steve. And now Earl's faced with the actual reality that his stupidity has literally doomed himself, his race, his family, the goddamn whole planet to just a cold death. And that's
his boss is you're ending the world, and his boss is very spacely sprocket about everything all the way to the end. It's just like Earl is telling him, like, look, man, we just fucked up a lot of shit, like, in an epic way. He's like, look, people are getting in the way of the money. All right, that's all that matters. So I'm trying to do what I can.
All this cold. We never sold so many parkas before. We selling out in North Face shit. I'm swimming in North Face money and starter jacket money. What am I supposed to do? Burn some of this money? No. Maybe drop a bomb in one of those volcanoes again. Maybe if we do it twice, it'll help, but it's not going to help, Steve. So now, I think ultimately, this is every person's nightmare, is like having to just fess up to a mistake to your family. Like, you know what, guys, I'm sorry. I should have listened. I fucked up. But in this case, the fuck up is we're all going to die. So
yeah,
it's a real heartfelt, he gives like the speech. He's like, I should have listened. But his family, they're awesome people. Even his daughter, who found out about this catastrophe and tried to warn him against it, is like, whatever we got to do to get through this, we're going to get through it together. Because at this point, I guess they don't know that they're about to die. But Steve, we all know what happens. We're about to dig up Earl, the Sinclair family, millions of years later. And this is a whole shit show. I don't like this. Are people going to be digging us up in millions of years, Steve? What's going to happen? This is us. This is us.
I hope Steven Spielberg's Offspring makes a movie about us if that does happen. Just like he did about the dinosaurs. And it has like you said, it's a somber ending, because the last line from Earl is, it's not like we're all going to disappear. Oh, buddy.
And then they just keep pulling out to like Arctic tundra outside. And it's almost like a Christmas episode ending where you're like, oh, it's snow. But this isn't good snow, Steve. This is Christmas the equivalent of yellow snow. And this is a big shit show. So wild way to end the show. I don't know if I would tuned into TGIF that night, if I'd be walking away from this being like, you know what, I'm feeling great. What a great Friday night. It's kind of a downer, but maybe we should have listened to this in 94.
94. Yeah, man. Once again, shout out to the cast and crew of Dinosaurs, man. I'm sure we'll have a chance to cover it again. But also in 94, The Client premieres in theaters. A young boy who witnessed the suicide of a mafia lawyer hires an attorney to protect him when the district attorney tries to use him to take down a mob family. Directed by Joel Schumacher, starring Susan Sarandon, Tommy Lee Jones, Brad Renfro, Mary Louise Parker, Anthony LaPaglia, Anthony Edwards, Ozzie Davis, Bradley Whitford, and William H. Macy. It's got some hitters.
I mean, this was in like this pocket of time where they were making a lot of like lawyer and like law-based dramas. And I remember this was kind of a good one. Like there was this, and then I think there was like, wasn't it called The Pelican Brief? Like I feel like those kind of came around the same time. But yeah, dude, a lot of hitters. Brad Renfro, there's a name we haven't talked about in a while, but he was like a little fun child star in the 90s. You know,
Yeah, and
little
this was actually his
JTT.
start.
Was it?
Yeah, because the director they didn't want a child actor that was feigning a fake Southern accent. So Brad Renfro, being from Knoxville, Tennessee, it was authentic. And he didn't have a past, he didn't have a filmography at this point, and I think that helped too. They wanted to make it more realistic. The Southern kid, he had charm. You could say he was rubbing shoulders with the JTTs of the time. I just don't
For
think
sure.
that age and maturity, he wore it well. And RIP to him, because he eventually took his own life, I believe.
Yeah, he's one of the tragic child star stories, but he was good in this. And I mean, I love Sarandon. I love Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh
And
my
this is
God, I
like
love some
that.
Sarandon.
This is that one where like this is what we remember. The Tommy Lee Jones now, it's like a little weird. It's a little old and whatnot. But this is him at his height. This is the fugitive, Steve. He
Man,
doesn't give a fuck.
you can't go wrong with some 90s Tommy Lee, man.
Mickey Mallory, him and fucking Natural Born Killers, dude. That to me is the height of Tommy Lee Jones. I love him in that.
Man, it is something about that Susan Sarandon, man. I didn't know that she had earlier movies where she was nude, and I need to find those.
I just remember that movie. The what was it? Where the rookie, the one where she's like the guy, the chick who fucks baseball players. It's got fucking Tim Robbins. It's got somebody else famous in it too. But I just remember her being like a hottie in that, where it was just like, she's a hot mom. She's that. She's a MILF. That's a for sure.
Totally. Grand MILF at this point.
Fucking team.
Somebody, who probably didn't watch this lawyer shit though, Matthew? 1994. Probably former NFL running back and broadcaster and actor O.J. Simpson. He offers $500,000 for evidence of ex-wife's killer. So,
and then he gave himself $500,000.
He gave himself $500,000.
Son of a bitch! I found him.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, I got 500 grand for it too. So thank you. That's hilarious, man. I mean, what the fuck, Steve? I know so many books, documentaries already been done. Is there going to be a deathbed confession? Do you think? Are we going to ever get that?
Man,
do you
he's
think
taking this to his grave, bro? he's gonna beat around the bush. Dude.
I mean, that when I put that into the last episode, dude, and when you see that, it's really scary. Like, if I was part of it, I get why that bitch was traumatized, because I'd be like, look, guys, I think we need to stop this. We need to stop fucking around with OJ, because this motherfucker is crazy.
Where is his publicist, man? Jesus. But he's not black, he's OJ. But in 1996, Ben Simmons, Australian basketball player, is born, or as 76ers fans would call him, boo, you suck.
Yeah, they don't like him. Is he gone now? Did he get to a different, is he playing?
He's with Brooklyn, which is like the NBA cemetery these days.
Did he just get injured like immediately, like his first game or a couple of games in? He just started getting injured.
He didn't have his first game with the Nets until probably like a season and a half later after he got traded.
Damn. Well, Ben, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, he's still in the league, man. You're winning. But also, I appreciate his trolling. So the 76ers, when they get eliminated or if they get a bad loss, he'll show up on social media with like the score in the background or some shit. So, when it comes to shitting on Philly, and I love it, man. Put them petty pants on, Petty LaBelle, Petty Winslow. I
like that. I do. Now I like him, Steve. I'm in. Thank you, Ben.
Just appreciate not the NBA playing. But in 1999, July 20th, Public Enemy releases There's a Poison Going On. And this song, this album is a fucking banger, man. It's just, late 90s wasn't their era. Their bang and boom was in the 80s and early 90s. But we're talking about like duos that were great as far as contrasting voices. This is another one. Flavor Flav and Chuck D.
Yeah. This is one of the top. This is tops as far as duos go. And they had like a push at the end of the decade because I do remember them like starting to be on like maybe like an MTV, like they'd show up. But I feel
Well,
like
it
Chuck
was
D was always kind of like hesitant to really be on a lot. Like he seemed like he didn't want to be on TV and stuff, or he maybe wanted to be very selective about what he was on.
well, yeah, he's kind of like Zach De La Roca in a way. You rarely saw Zach De La Roca interviews. It was more so Tom Morello and Chuck D. He was not as bad as Zach De La Roca. He was like the mouthpiece of Public Enemy.
Yeah.
But he always played it smart. He never said anything in interviews, and he's just a smart person. He never said anything that would incriminate himself, or like he kept himself on the straight and narrow. He's always been straight edge. Never heard about him getting drunk or high or anything like that. And I think the relevance that you saw was partially because of He Got Game when they collaborated with the It's Something Happening, yeah,
Okay.
that guy. And
Hell yeah. Okay.
yeah, he used that song as the backdrop to the He Got Game song, man. So Public Enemy, I love this album. And also in 99, Power Man 5000 released Tonight the Stars Revolt. And something that I don't think I've ever heard or you probably ever heard in your life is, damn, that Power Man 5000 song was banging.
Steve,
Never have
don't
I
talk shit about Power Man 5000. Steve, how dare you?
But you don't like REM, but you like Power Man 5000.
I only liked it. They had like 3 songs on this CD, and one of which, I take this to the internet because I could never prove this, but I think that they actually stole their song, or their song was used on a Sega Genesis X-Men game as part of the music in one of the levels. So I just felt like they had good movie preview music. Like you put an action scene next to it, it's fine. But the visual and what they were trying to pull off here, it got a little weird. But they were like White Zombie adjacent. So what do you want?
Yeah, the white zombie that couldn't. Like
He's like his nephew or something, isn't he? I think he's related to
something like
fucking
that.
Rob Zombie.
A brother or something, but like I don't think any of that rubbed off because I hated when they were always paired with groups I liked. Like when they would have festivals and tours, it would be like, oh, Limp Bizkit, Corn, Smashing Pumpkins, and Power Man 5000. Like, bro, it was like Greg Valentine matches. Like, oh, this is the time when I get my pretzels.
What was their hit? When Worlds Collide, I think is the name of that song.
This is what it's like when worlds collide.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, were they good? No. But I mean, they had a couple of hits. Just like all those 90s bands we were talking about earlier. They had their time in the sun or Blacklight or, Red Vampiric Light, whatever they used in their weird stage show. I feel like there was a lot of like leather and like a lot of belts and latches on their uniforms or costumes or whatever. I mean, even the main guy, he's got fucking Seth Green goggles from Can't Hardly Wait on. In fact, he almost looks like that character if you look at him.
Hold up, do I put on the Jimmy hat now? No, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, hard pass. Thanks for trying.
I tried. That's the best sell job I can do for Power Man 5000, but it is. Listen to it. Steve's fucking. No, he's fucking up.
No, somebody who probably else. You know who else probably didn't listen to this new metal cosplaying bullshit, Matthew, in 1999?
What? Who?
Probably American rapper and singer Pop Smoke, because he was just being born.
This is getting into the age of rap. I don't know who these guys are. Pop Smoke. I'm gonna sound like an old man, but like this era, I don't know. Lil Baby, Bad Baby, Bad Bunny, Pop Smoke, Little Uzi Vert. These people, I don't know who they are. I don't know any of them.
Well, I know all of them people and I love them. And
you
Pop
love them
Smoke,
all?
R.I.P. Yeah, all the people you named, even the ones that don't exist, because fuck it, Mary. So Pop Smoke, R.I.P. He's no longer with us, but he's one of those guys that I didn't know about until around the time of his passing. And he kind of pioneered his own sound. You might have heard some of his music. He's got a very grovelly, deep bass voice, and he does New York drill And drill music is like a subgenre of trap where it's gang related, it's very street. And I think I've heard other people emulate his sound with the 808 beat and just like that deep voice that it's like one notch above DMX or below DMX, however you
I
look
was
at
like,
it.
damn,
And
above DMX. Maybe I do need to listen to this guy then. I've heard
very
the name,
grovelly.
but yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess it gets the
Well,
Steve G seal of approval, and it does. My opinion doesn't matter because I just listen to 80s and 90s R&B now, so that's it.
Empowerman 5000.
Empowerment 5000.
Yeah, and like even though he was a New York guy, he was murdered in Los Angeles, man. You know, he has ops like a lot of popular street rappers do, and he went live on Instagram. And you know, when you're flexing and flossing for the masses, you can't leave your fucking location. You got to check that shit, people, or just stop flexing and flossing. I get it, you're a rapper, but man, hey bro, there's a price that comes with that. And his ops, they found him, they tracked him down and got him. And
It's crazy how
that was
much
his
that's
story.
happening now because that's happening a lot. You know, I don't know a lot of
Yeah,
these people, but there's a lot of that kind of shit where you're right. It's just like you guys got to take the fucking location out. You're giving like a GPS signal of like, hey, I got $10 million in cash in this car. Of course, somebody's gonna try to go get that shit.
especially in
Wild.
LA, man, is full of wolves that are just ready to attack, man.
Saturday, The Pretenders season finale.
Center's going to make another pretender.
Where am I?
A race to save a boy exposes secrets
Tell me about my parents.
Who killed my mother?
as fates collide.
Get out! There's a bomb!
The incredible season finale, The Pretender, NBC Saturday, 9, 8 Central.
This is it, Steve. We made it. This is a versus. So I'm gonna let you intro it because this was your idea, but I'm excited because I think I got some bangers. You ain't gonna win this one.
Well, you might be right because I'm going off the top of the dome. So this time around, we're going to do a versus of our favorite 90s summer movies. They don't have to be blockbusters. They don't have to be all Bruce Willie and whatnot. They just happen to come out in the summer and you liked it a lot. You loved it.
Yeah. I mean, with a movie like Ghost could be on there because it was a summer movie. So I feel like I tend to think that any movie that comes out in this time, especially in the 90s, there was a level of blockbusterness to it, no matter what it was. But you're right. It doesn't have to be those. So I'm interested where you go with this because I think I picked a couple of surprises, but we're only doing three. And I'll give my other ones that I have afterwards. But since I'm a gentleman, and since you came up with the idea, Steve, I'm going to let you go first because you're going off the dome. So I can scratch these off my list and keep going.
And we're doing all three without back to back.
No, just do, well, let's do one at a time. You pick one. I'll give, this is like a round by round. So we'll do 3 rounds.
Round 1, fight.
So I got to come in with the heater, and that's got to be Terminator 2.
Fuck.
I got to. I knew it. I knew it was on your list, so I had to shoot first. God damn it!
Yes.
And
Okay.
it's got the Governor, the greatest action star, not just of our time but of all time. And you know what? Everybody in this fucking project blew the fuck up. Even Danny Cooksey. It's like, hey, you want some more Danny Cooksey? Salute your shorts. You want some of this Edward Furlong? Yeah, we're gonna put him in a bunch of shit in the 90s. And Arnold going Arnold.
He's only going to be more Arnold than you remember. And I got to say, Steve, I just watched like just sort of a breakdown of this movie somebody did recently, and something that I didn't know that is just like a cool behind the scenes fact. Like so many things, like, you know, James Cameron, all the cool special effects and how he figured out how to do that. But Robert Patrick, the guy that played Terminator, whatever, T-1000 or whatever it was,
T-1000.
he, like Arnold, shot so many, like, did so much firearm practice, he didn't blink when he shot guns, which makes him super intense. But if you notice in all the scenes when he's running really fast, he never breathes. And that's because he said like a robot wouldn't breathe or get tired. So he practiced running great lengths very fast without breathing so he could do those shots. I just think like that shows you everybody involved in this, even if they weren't at like a top name actor, were giving everything they got for it. And it shows, dude. It's so good.
And They put that man in great shape, man. He went through a lot of conditioning, and shout
And
out
they
to
did
Linda,
cool
man.
shit though, but they did cool shit to make it more realistic. Like remember how he in like the sanitarium where Sarah Connor is, there's like a dude that the guy, he's like a fat dude with like a mustache. That this is the first guy he impersonates where like a T-1000 kills him with like this like, you know, his finger. Well, that guy
Yeah.
had a twin. So when they shot that in real life, there was actually like his twin was there shooting it so that it looked real and it wasn't like some weird special effect where they were like doubling him up. And Linda Hamilton has a twin, and her
Correct.
twin was used in this in the scene where she's like watching Judgment Day happen and she sees herself like in the playground. That's her sister. You know, she
Yep.
was too fucking yoked to be herself in that flashback. So they got her sister to do it, and they did a face match. They actually did a face thing on it to make her look more realistic, I think, in some way. But yeah, man, you picked a good one. That was number one on my list. So you nailed it.
Sorry, man.
It's okay because I got a banger too for round one to go up against this, and I think technologically speaking, directorially speaking, cast speaking, I feel like it's 1A and 1B, Steve, and I'm going Jurassic Park because big tumultuous time in my life. This was the summer I moved to Ohio. I saw this right before I moved to Ohio. It actually kind of terrified me. The special effects were so good, the raptors and everything. So Steven Spielberg's getting his, wowing everyone. I mean, this was everything. It spawned so much. It toys everything. It's so many sequels. We get a Clooney. We get Jeff Goldblum. We get Sam Neill. We get Laura Dern. We get the Jurassic Park owner guy who I can never remember his name. Everybody in it gives this fucking, even the kids, Samuel L. Newman, everybody in it's stellar. The special effects are stellar. The movie is just I mean, it's almost action movie and like adventure movie perfection because I can't really think of anything to critique about it, just like Terminator 2.
It is perfection, man. And you know, like everybody for the most part. Did you mention Laura Dern?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, man. Everybody
Everybody
kinda,
kills
like,
it.
held
And
it.
I just think that, and you know, Steven Spielberg made many amazing movies, but I just have to feel that in his pantheon of movies, like, or at least for me, this is it. I love him as a director. I think he's got a lot of cool movies, but to me, this is just one that I'm wearing the fucking t-shirt, Steve. Like, it just is something that stuck with me. If you watch it now, if you watch the original print of the movie, it's probably not going to look 100% as good as some shit you see now, but it stands the test of time in so many ways, you know?
Round 2, fight!
Man, now my next one is one that we've actually covered, and it's the same deal. Great direction, great cast, great music, everything about it, man. It unfortunately just got swept under the rug, and that is Dick Tracy. And like, man, that one was, as a kid, I remember seeing it in the theaters. I remember the fanfare behind it. It brought back the old school cartoon, brought that back into relevance, man. They had the McDonald's promotion going with it, where you get some large fries or a large drink, you get a scratch off. And I remember getting the toys, the video game even for Nintendo, which is super hard. It's on my bucket list of games to beat. But yeah, man, Warren Beatty, Madonna, some Pacino, like
all of
everything about it, man. The cinematography, man, like the primary colors and the use of that consistently throughout the film, man. There's nothing bad I can say about this movie.
I like I said when we did it on the episode, it just is one of those that got swept under the rug in my opinion. I don't remember exactly why, but going back and watching it, it really is one of those movies that is unsung. It's got, for Warren Beatty, I mean, the guy directed it, and it's so good looking. Like, at least in terms of that, like, you made this gorgeous movie, which even like that's very hard to do. So I'm with you, man. I didn't put that on my list, but it definitely is in. It's got to be in the top 10 because I don't have 10. That might be number 10 on my list, but it's, you know, after one through three, it gets hazy. So I agree, man. That's a tough one to go up against. But I'm going to use his 90s summer movie icon, Willie Smith, Steve, and I'm going Independence Day. I love me some Independence Day. And if you go back and think about when this movie came back, perfect timing. Came out on July 4th weekend. We got to see it on July 3rd of the year. What year did it come out? 1996.
96, yeah.
The special effects were fantastic. We got a Will Smith that was just fucking killing it at this time. Just he was 100% everything. And I think this is the one where his paycheck went from like whatever it was to, you know, 50 million a movie or whatever.
This shot him up, man, and got him prepared for Men in Black paychecks with Tommy Lee.
And we got to see a nice, sexy Vivica in this. We got Bill Pullman, who is not in that Bill Paxton fight, clearly a Paxton fan, but we get a cool Bill Pullman as a president. We get Randy Quaid as a crazy redneck trailer trash dude who saves the world. And I think we even get Harry Connick Jr. as like just kind of the cool guy, cool pilot guy. He's like Will Smith's buddy.
And you picked another Goldblum one as well.
Oh, yeah. Dude, how did I forget about that? Yeah, we got him. We got the guy from Dear John as his dad. We get all that fucking hijinks. And yeah, this was this was just one of I think the start of the end of the world movies. And as far as like alien invasion movies go, this is my favorite. It's got some good comedy in it too. It goes crazy, but it also has some humor because it's got Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. And yeah, man, I remember going to the theater in this and loving this movie so much.
Final round, fight.
Now, I don't know if you're ready for this one, man, because this is the bomb. This also had a McDonald's promotion that was so racy, they had to scrap it. Great direction, great casting, great characters. And it's the best, in my opinion, of the whole fucking franchise. All of the granddaddy of them all. And I'm talking about Batman Returns.
Damn it. You got it, Steve. And I mean, if you got let me go through the list of stars on this. Of course, we got Michael Keaton. We got Danny DeVito, which we all know and love. We love a Frank Reynolds. Michelle Pfeiffer. Fucking Christopher Walken is in this. And nobody even really remembers that he's like really kind of the villain in this alongside everybody else. He's like the mastermind dude. And yeah, man, because I feel like Batman 1, we loved it. We were kids. Batman 2, we were old enough where we were like, we were getting like, you could be like really excited about this. And it's a very adult take on it that I don't know if necessarily like people would want to take their kids to now. But dude, you're right. I still have the Penguin Batman like commemorative cup where he's on his like, remember he had that big duck, like the duck thing he rode in the sewers and shit. Yeah, man. How creepy was Danny DeVito as Penguin in this?
One of my favorite like movie villains, man. It's up there with Jack Nicholson's Joker and Heath Ledger's Joker. He's probably number 2. I would put him above Heath Ledger's Joker, and I think that's the petty in me because everybody was just sucking it so hard before the movie came out. Like, oh, Heath Ledger's the GOAT. He's the greatest. Like, and I think people just love you when you're gone a little bit more. I think that had something to do with it. But no, Danny DeVito, who's still with us, he knocked it out the park, as did Michelle Pfeiffer with her fine ass in that Catwoman.
Oh my God, the perfect Catwoman. Nobody will ever. I mean, Eartha Kitt you can say that, sexy, like sultry, but this one, just the way she's made, and like when the reveal of her when she goes to her apartment and like becomes Catwoman and stuff is maybe the greatest like villain reveal in a movie because it's just done perfectly. It ends with like this crazy shot where she's like licking herself and cats are coming up to her window, and it's so perfect. It's so good. Hell yeah. And she is, I mean, God, dude, so that skin tight, like whatever that was, latex, or I mean, geez Louise, Steve.
Even has some Paul Rubens.
Man, you've decimated my top 4. You know, I'm going to go with one that is more because I love the director. And I didn't really think of this as a summer release because I watched it, I think, when it came on VHS. but because I'm going to name my other ones after this, but Robert Rodriguez, this was him coming into his own. Desperado, Steve. It came out on August 25th, 1995. We get a young Antonio. We get a young Salma. I think this is actually predates Dusk Till Dawn, which is a shared favorite of ours. That's a Robert Rodriguez flick as well. But I love the director. I love this movie for the crazy style of action that it got us into, like that John Woo style, like jumping around and just crazy acrobatics and gunfights. And for me, is like the director is an inspiration because Robert Rodriguez, if nothing else, of being a great director, he was very generous with his knowledge and would include like how to do things and like how to make movies in all of his DVDs and like releases of like at home movies that he did. And for that reason alone, I mean, Cheech in this at the beginning when he's talking and he's like explaining who Desperado is, and he's like, he's the biggest fucking Mexican I ever seen. Like just like the weird comedy in it and stuff. I love me some Desperado. So I'm gonna go with that. It's not gonna stand up to a Batman Returns, but I do think it set the stage for a lot of cool, not necessarily like blockbuster budget movies, but those cool action movies that we got in the 90s, like this type of crazy, like acrobatic, like jumping over tables, gunfighting and stuff. I loved it.
I didn't expect that though, man.
Yeah. I mean, Steve, you picked some, I feel like you did win this because you got Dick Tracy. Okay. So salute to you. I mean, I'm going to give you the win, you know, shake, virtual shake, but I'm going to go through some ones that I did like go through this and just sort of, I picked some alternates just in case. So one, Blade. This came out in August 21st, 1998. And if you like comic book movies, some people hate them now and they're oversaturated. Totally. This movie started it. This made comic book movies very legitimate. And I remember, I don't like vampire shit. I think it's corny. I think it's a stupid subject to put in movies. But Wesley Snipes killed this. This movie made comic book movies palatable. And I think if you go back and watch this, man, is it a really quality vampire and action movie, aside from the fact it's like a comic book movie. But Steven Dorff's in it. Chris Christopherson's in it. It's got a lot of hitters in it. I mean, we all love Wesley Snipes. This was him in the 90s. So, you know,
the first one. Yeah.
You should have been paying some taxes on them paychecks, but I felt like that should be in there. Another one I put in here, Air Force One, Steve. Air Force One is a Harrison Ford joint where he plays the president. Gary Oldman's like a terrorist that takes over Air Force One. It's a whole action movie. I saw this. It actually came out like 2 days before my birthday in 1997 on July 25th. Saw this with my parents. And this was in that weird window where you're still too young to go see a lot of R-rated movies, but my parents started letting me see violence. And we all collectively went to see this and loved it because my mom, I think, had a hard-on for Harrison Ford. So we get that. And we get Gary Oldman as like a cool, I don't think they call them Russians, but he's like an Eastern European type villain, and he's great in this. Like he's a great villain in this, and it has really good special effects too. And then two go together. So The Rock and Con Air, two ridiculous. Those movies.
That's on your list,
huh? I love those.
Those are on
movies.
your list.
They were like low down, but I love those movies. Like I thought those were just fun action movies, and like Con Air. If you go back and watch it, it's like an all-star cast of every actor that you're going to know in action movies from there on out. Like in 99, well, actually it came out in 97. But other than that, the only other one I had was, it doesn't really stand up as much when you know the background isn't real, but the Blair Witch Project at the time when it came out in 99, we talked about it, but I just think it was like sort of an innovative movie. And if you can forget all the bullshit and just watch it as a movie, it freaked me out. I think it freaks me out still. So, but that's it.
That wraps up Versus. Yeah.
But good job, Steve. I mean, I thought about Dick Tracy, but I just didn't do it. I thought I was gonna try to go for some deeper cuts, but clearly you weren't having it. I said Con Air, and you fucking guffawed at it. So
No, we talking about the granddaddy of them all, man. Con Air. I'm sorry. I'm in and like it's a great movie, but like you
The
talking
Rock,
top
Steve.
dogs.
The Rock. No.
Unless
The
it's
Rock?
Dwayne Johnson.
Well, there you go. Well, see, that's where tastes differ. You know, it's an objective opinion or subjective, whichever one. It's a subjective opinion, but you pick good ones, man. And I mean, T2. I think that's probably if you ask 100 people that grew up during our time, especially dudes, it's gonna be a high 90 percentile of like people that say that's the best movie of the 90s because it's so good.
It's probably the best sequel of a movie.
It is the best sequel of all time. That and Empire Strikes Back, and you know people don't like Star Wars as much anymore. So
when the sequel eclipses the original, because like for years I didn't even there is a Terminator. That would make sense because that other one is Terminator 2. So that one, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like it ain't fucking with T2 though. But ladies and gentlemen, if you could find it in your great hearts to like, share, subscribe, and comment, and please tell your little sister that I will harass like a Luna in a riot. What you expect, like a sumo slamming that ass, leaving your face in the grass, cause you know, don't take it too low. Lightly, punk just jealous cause you can't outfight me. Check out Crush Gasm on Wednesdays. B3F Podcast with Joey and Steve, if they're still doing that. Our guy Clark on YouTube. And don't worry, B Movie with Amanda and Wade. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s.